Hello, and welcome to the Central Carolina Community College Library Instruction modules. This is Identifying Academic Sources, where we will go over how to identify and find academic sources. At the end of this module, learners will be able to determine if a source is academic, identify the characteristics of an academic source, understand the process of peer review in academic publishing, and identify where to find an academic source. Identifying academic sources. There are some frequently asked questions when it comes to academic sources. What is an academic source? How can you tell if something is a scholarly source? How can you tell if a source is trustworthy? What does peer-reviewed mean? And where can you find them? Now, academic and scholarly sources, they are used interchangeably a lot of times. These sources are authoritative, sourced, peer-reviewed, objective, and for academic purposes. You can use these 5 identifiers to determine if something is an academic or scholarly source. Let's go a bit more in depth with each of these to see how we can find out if a source is academic or scholarly. Academic sources have authority. What is authority? Authority is the qualification and expertise of an author on a set topic or field of study. A person has expertise in a specific topic or field of study if they have studied it, are an active participant in it, or have observed it. There are a couple of different types of authority, and we'll go over each of these. How to evaluate authority. First, you can look at the author. What are their degrees or credentials? What is their occupation? Who is their employer? Next, you can look at the audience. What type of vocabulary is being used? Is it overtly technical and therefore for a specific audience of people that are familiar with it? Or is it very wide and general and basic and therefore for a wider audience? What is the tone? Does it sound like it is argumentative, defensive, or informative? What is the length of the article or source that you are reading? Usually, academic and scholarly sources are very long. What is the purpose of the source? What is its reason for being written? Is it done to persuade, to inform, or to defend a specific point of view? And look at the funding, if there is any. Where did this funding money come from? Did it come from corporate sponsors, and therefore may be somewhat biased towards those corporate sponsors? Did it come from advertisements and sponsorships, and therefore is possibly more linked towards the certain results and outcomes that these companies may want? And types of authority. We will look at these specific types of authority to determine what type of authority we need when we are looking at an academic or scholarly source. Now, first and foremost, scholarly authority. Researchers with advanced degrees usually associated with a university or research organization. This is the type of authority that we are looking for whenever we read an academic or scholarly source. Usually an association with a university or large research organization, and an author with advanced degrees and credentials. There is also professional authority. This comes when a person has years of experience in a field and writing for other experts in their field. So they have an investment within a certain field, they have knowledge within a certain field, but they may not necessarily be associated with a university or a research organization. There is also the authority of government publications. Government organizations usually provide data or guidelines on a topic, and this will be much more basic and straightforward data, very little interpretation. We can see this in reports given by the FDA, the CDC, and of course, information from specific governing bodies, such as the governor of a state, the legislature of a state, and of course, Congress overall. There's also the authority of a journalist. This journalist is affiliated with a news source. They are writing secondhand about things that happen to others. You will also see during this type of authority affiliations with a large news source or a local news source, and language that is talking about other people, not necessarily their own personal experiences. And last, of course, we have eyewitness authority, someone who has first-hand knowledge of an event or topic. This person is an expert in this event or topic because they have lived through it themselves, seen it, and are reporting out about what they have seen and experienced. This usually comes in the form of blogs or Twitter feeds. Now remember, don't judge a source by its URL. There's a common misconception that if it's from a .org site, it's academic and therefore can be trusted. This is false. It is a false assumption because the .org ending of a website was once associated mainly with nonprofits, and nowadays websites ending in .org, .org are actually available to any group or organization who buys them. .gov is for a government site, usually with raw data or technical reports. .edu is an academic site that can have useful information, but usually is not a peer-reviewed source, something that has been looked at and examined by other academics and experts with that type of authority, and which are usually published in journals. So the information may be valid, but may not necessarily be viewed as good as a source that comes from an academic journal. Academic sources are sourced. Now, sources. Academic works give credit to where they found their information. This can come in the form of in-text citations within the body of the work. In the case of MLA, we see within parentheses the last name of the author or authors, followed by a comma and then the page range, one or many pages, ending in the parentheses. With APA formatting, we have also in parentheses the last name of the author or authors, followed by a comma, and then the year that the publication was published. In Chicago style, we have footnotes, where a quotation or a paraphrasing or information that is mentioned within the body of the work is followed by a number, which at the bottom of the page is associated with a longer explanation or a citation of where the information came from. We also have end of work references. For MLA, we have a works cited page that is specifically formatted in MLA format. For APA, this is known as the reference list. It is also in alphabetical order, very similar to the MLA, but of course follows APA formatting. And for Chicago, we have a bibliography. Also very similar to the works cited and reference lists of MLA and APA, but following slightly different formatting. Here we see an example of an MLA formatted works cited page. Note that the sources are listed in alphabetical order by the last name of the first author that is listed in the source. Academic sources are peer-reviewed. Now, let's go over the peer review process. First, to begin the process, an author submits an article to an academic or scholarly journal. The next step is when an editor reviews it for relevance to determine if it is on topic for things that are currently happening within the field or is new and therefore of interest to others within the field. The editor then passes it on to a panel of experts, the author's peers, to review it. This can consist of experts within the field, other academics, and researchers. The final step in this cycle of the peer review process is that the reviewers will review the materials, review the research and the study, and then make recommendations to do one of the following. either to accept the study or the article and approve it for publication, to reject it completely, therefore determining that it is not of worth within the field and should not be published within the journal or database or scholarly journal, and then also to possibly revise it, that the author does have good points, has valid information within their study or article, but that some information needs to be updated and revised before it can be accepted for publication. Now, why is peer review required for academic or scholarly sources? First, for credibility. These panels are made of experts within a field, people who have dedicated their lives and careers to studying a particular field and therefore are experts within it. This panel then reviews the information for accuracy and importance, giving their stamp of approval and also saying that the information can be deemed trustworthy. Also, objectivity. These panels are blind. The reviewers don't know the author of the work. So, these reviewers are not aware of who is on the panel, and then those on the panel also don't know the author of the work. So both sides of it are unaware of who they are having read their work and who has created the work. This reduces the chance of bias and acceptance or rejection of the material. Academic sources are objective. Objectivity. Academic sources should not have overt biases that impact the information being presented. Information is never neutral, but should be examined in a fair way that does not ignore contrary evidence. Academic sources are for academics. Now, academic publishing. The sources are written for instructors, researchers, students, subject professionals. And the sources are located in academic journals, databases, and trade publications. These materials are written by and for those within academia or scholarly research. This is one of the key tenets that defines academic or scholarly publishing. It is written for those who are studying a topic, and it is located within publications about that topic that are sponsored by major organizations in that field or universities and research institutes. For review, academic sources are written by those with expertise in a subject, list the sources of their information with in-text citations and a reference list at the end of the work, undergo a rigorous peer review process, do not favor one perspective over another without considering the evidence, and are written by and for those in an academic or professional field. If you have any questions about identifying or finding academic or scholarly sources, please contact the CCCC library at the following contact information: by email at ccccclib@cccc.edu or visit our website cccc.edu/library. Thank you very much, and please let us know if you need any assistance.